Well, welcome back, ladies and gentlemen, to Bubblr's channel, a savior of small businesses, supporting communities by bridging the internet back to people. Joining us to discuss is Steve Morris, the Chief Technology Officer. He's going to be taking us through some of the tech, a name change that's going to be going on, a bit of rebranding. But first and foremost, welcome back, sir.
Thanks for having me on again, Carl.
Always a pleasure to get you on in this fascinating world of AI. I'm really excited to kind of dive down into this. But before we talk about some of the advancements in your products, these new things you're launching, do you want to talk a little bit about the name change, the rebranding? You're going to be calling yourselves Ethical Web AI. Do you want to talk a little bit about where we came up with that name and what it means for the company?
Bubblr is a dreadful name. If you try Googling it, it's awful. It keeps suggesting bubbles. And there's also obviously a popular soft drink in the US called Bubblr. So we always knew we had to change the name. And it's reaching a point now where it's become critical because we're getting too many new investors coming along and don't really understand the proposition, misunderstand it. And Ethical Web AI is it's a more descriptive name of exactly what the company is about. We're profoundly an ethical web company, and we've actually got our own definition of really of what the ethical web is really. And one of the key things is we decentralize profits and data. So we're open source, and it's a new kind of economic model that we're presenting here. We can't carry on doing things where we're just producing Google 2s or Amazon 2s or whatever it is. We just make a very small number of people enormously rich at the cost of everybody else and small businesses. So it's important that for our open source platform is the licensees make the bulk of the revenue out of it. We only charge a large 20% license fee. So decentralizing the ownership and the delivery of the product and the profits and also the data collection, because the key thing about where the whole system works is we have better data than anybody else because it's provided from the bottom up by the suppliers in real time. So the other thing we do is we protect citizens' rights to privacy. There's no that's an essential part of it. There's no cookies. There's no registration, so we don't know anything about anybody using it. It's absolutely essential. I think that's where the world's going. I could add to that as the EU and the UK, and no doubt the US will follow fairly soon, is they're looking at banning cookies altogether fairly soon because it's that serious. So we obviously we want an internet that levels the playing field, which is fundamental to what we're doing, so that companies can compete on a fair basis, on a level playing field with the big corporates. That's fundamental to what we're doing. And we don't want to be promoting social division. The current internet model, the way it works, people like Facebook deliberately provoke division and provoke anger and radicalization because they get more eyeballs and more clicks. And then finally, the fundamental problem is corrupted by advertising. We don't have any advertising in our model whatsoever. So, and it stops the fundamental corruption of things. You can see one of the only places where you can kind of more or less trust the information on the internet is Wikipedia, because there's no ads on it.
Yeah,
and people can come to a fairly a consensus of what's right and wrong. They still have debates about what's right and wrong in the people putting together Wikipedia pages, but they actually reach what's conceived as being a minimum viable truth that everybody's happy with. So people are human beings wherever they go, and they can negotiate reasonably, and they can say, I think you're right on this, you can have a debate or whatever it is, and they get to a minimum viable truth. The fundamental thing that corrupts everything is advertising. So we have nothing to do with that. So we are an ethical technology company. So we do represent the ethical web. And the other side of it is the AI side of it. Well, our latest patent, which is purely to do with search information, fits in perfectly with the new LLM models such as ChatGPT. And we're launching a new product. We weren't going to be going to a consumer product originally, but we pivoted to included this as part of our proposition, which is basically an app version of ChatGPT, which is going to be in the stores. And that it can use any LLM, actually. We're agnostic about which LLM it gets used. But in particular, we're using ChatGPT for this, and it enhances the overall proposition. And what I mean by enhancing it, one of the things with ChatGPT, there's a couple of things that are fitting perfectly with the pattern. The first one is that the way we traditionally do web search, we just do a query and we get 1 million results, and that's it. So there's no conversation with the search. There's no conversational search. with both of our major patterns, conversational search is fundamental to what we do. So we ask one question and subsequent questions and build up a bigger query, more complex query. So conversational search is part of it. And the other thing is being able to search in the context of an original search, which is the way ChatGPT works as well. So that's one side of our utility pattern with our kind of new search information patterns. The other side of it really is the other key thing is be able to the results you get from ChatGPT generally do not have hyperlinks included in it. It's just generated text. So what we do is we take that generated text and we build dynamically. We build hypertext links into it. And what we do is we build web pages that have got the hypertext links in them. And at the foot of the web page is actually a tag cloud as well, which is contains all the named entities in there. And if you tap on any of these tags, it then reruns the query again, annotating the particular named entity as an additional part of the query. So it makes it more relevant. More importantly, with these web pages as well, is because they are web pages, you can share them with other people in your app. So you can put them in WhatsApp, or you can send them to Facebook or anything really, or TikTok or whatever. So it's an enhanced proposition, and that's one of the key things about it. It's going to be a far easier tool to use it. There are other ways where we think we can make it cheaper as well, by accruing costs over. At the moment, the way you have to pay for ChatGPT, it's a flat rate, $20 a month, which you get charged whether you used all your tokens or not. So what we're going to do is we're going to allow people to roll over tokens. If they don't use all the tokens in a month, they can roll it over into the next month, so we can reduce the cost. And I'd say the other interesting thing about it, or profoundly interesting about it, is we've got a kind of pathway by combining it with our main platform, our open source platform, which provides Flutter templates for people to be able to build their own apps, which are super apps where you can search for anything within your local community. Is if it's used in conjunction, it can be used in conjunction with the main app. What you can use is you can build credits for using ChatGPT by using the main app to buy stuff. So in this way, we've got a pathway where effectively we could actually provide ChatGPT for free, and that's the $64 billion problem really with ChatGPT and all the other LLMs. They're expensive to run. You can't get them to run for free. Roughly speaking, it costs you 4 cents for a query. But people aren't going to pay that for Google for a query. But if you've got a model whereby if you use the other side of the app to buy things, that can mitigate the cost. And so we can end up with a situation where there's a pathway there for licensees to be able to provision it for free. And the final thing, really, I suppose, really, the bit that matters to us, it's completely covered by our patents. So even though it's not a particularly sophisticated app to be able to develop, it's not wildly complicated in comparison to our main platform that's got a ton of stuff in it. It's, people could replicate it, but they'd be in breach of our patents if they did so.
Yeah, definitely appreciate these insights. And you noted a lot of things that I think are fascinating, from just allowing developers for app creation to the shareability of the content that your GPT dynamic will kind of offer, and just kind of shareable links, and just kind of making that content, I think, more streamlined for people looking up the information. But I wouldn't mind asking just to finish up on, because you kind of went over a lot and I appreciate the info. Do you want to talk a little briefly on just time frame? How do you guys expect this to kind of roll out, and what should investors focus on with the launch of this product?
Yeah, well, it's a critical product for us. So we're just finalising the release to go into test flight, which is the pre-release test system that Apple uses for delivering it to phones. So we're going to get the prototype out to whoever really wants to have a look at it, really, to get as much feedback as we can. And then we think we've got probably a maximum of a 6-week period, but after assimilating all our feedback before we can get it in the stores. One of the recent changes, actually, with test flight with Apple is they kind of pre-validate before it even goes into test flight now, which speeds up the overall process. It could take up to 2 weeks before they sign off an app to go into the stores. So yeah, we're really excited about it. It makes a lot of difference to the company, because as soon as we've got it on the stores, we're going to be we're going to be selling it at $15 a pop, which is obviously less than the $20 a pop you pay for if you're getting it directly off OpenAI. And it means we're no longer pre-revenue as soon as we do that, so it's very significant. So we've already got a lot of interest from quite a few investors who would like to try it out to start with, and so yeah, we're really excited about it. It's a super. I use it all the time. I've actually reached the point now where I actually use it ahead of Google for a lot of stuff when I'm using it on my phone. It's a once you understand how kind of ChatGPT works, and particularly with our model, it's for most things, for an awful lot of things you're going to be searching for, it's just better than Google.
I look forward to trying and testing out this product. And obviously, we're going to leave some links down below if people are more interested to learn more. But I'll pass the questions off to the viewers. We'd love to know what you think about all of this in that comment section below. And consider subscribing, because as this news hits the wire, we're going to continue to update you on this evolving story. But as always, we look forward to catching you in the next one.
Okay, thanks a lot, Carl. Cheers.